Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Tony.
So what was going on with George Hawkins and the young guy from Rimutaka and the chap from Palmerston North? Mr. Speaker, I've got to pick up on where the Finance Minister was. It really is going to the playbook of what happens when a leader's on the skids. They have a speech, the little note would have gone round on the email, the leader is about to speak. Please all make your way down to the chamber. And they did. And they did. But I have to say after that speech from Phil Goff, I think it can only be summed up with these words: Mr. Goff is a very nice man, but he just can't win. Mr. Goff is a very nice man, but he just can't win. And what's more than that, Mr. Carter went on to say there are many members of the caucus who feel the same way. And they were the ones who didn't stand when you saw this today, and actually include a lot of the ones that did stand anyway are included in that group. Mr. Goff is a very nice man, but he just can't win. And that's come from one of his front benches until a few weeks ago, Mr. Carter. And look, you know, it's a bit like what used to happen in the Soviet Union. If anyone disagreed with you, you got sent to the asylum. And now that's what they're saying about Chris Carter. It's very, very impolite, and it's just not a reflection of the situation that Mr. Goff finds himself in. And what was sad about that speech was the fact that it's clear that Labor does not get that their more debt, higher tax policies will not work for New Zealand.
That's right.
Their more debt, higher tax policies will not work for New Zealand. There is no awareness from that party opposite about the fact that we are coming out of the worst recession since the 1930s. That he was in a party that during the best of times squandered the opportunities that New Zealand had, squandered the opportunities, and represents a party that has no coherent vision for the future of this country. He is a very nice man, but he just can't win when he has no plan or no policies for New Zealand other than spend another $300 million, which is what Ruth Dyson is going around the country saying. Apparently that's going to fix everything, is to spend another $300 million. And actually what we know is that that is not the case, that during their term the Labor government spent recklessly, interest rates were persistently high, exporters were struggling, and the tax system clearly was not working under that party opposite. And under this party, we have a 6-pillar program of economic recovery for New Zealand, the first of which is growth-enhancing tax cuts, which are putting large amounts of money in the pockets of ordinary New Zealanders. Many New Zealanders will remember that Phil Goff and Annette King voted to put $500 a week tax cuts into their pockets when they were last in government. When they were in government between 1984 and 1990, they put $500 a week in the pockets of cabinet ministers. That's what they voted for. $500 a week in the pockets of cabinet ministers. Annette King, Phil Goff, they stuck their hand up and said, yes, thank you, we'll have the $500 a week tax cut. But what this government's done is we are giving the average wage earner the significant benefits that they deserve. That a family on the average household income will be $25 a week better off, and that the vast majority of New Zealanders will face no more than a 17.5 cent in the dollar tax rate. Oh, and what's the name from the Waikato? Sue Moroney. Was she in favour of Phil Goff voting to put $500 in the pockets of himself? Oh, she was in favour of that. So we've got lower personal taxes, really lowering the marginal tax rate for the vast majority of New Zealanders, and lower tax rates that make us more competitive with Australia, giving the right incentives to business and individuals to get ahead. We're also focusing very strongly on better, smarter public services for New Zealanders and getting the government debt and spending under control. What we know is we inherited a forecast that was a nightmare for the New Zealand economy, because what we'd seen is the world economic crisis, economy's heading way down, and this previous government did not do enough to prepare New Zealand for that situation. So we have kept the public service bureaucracy, we've been moving resources to frontline services, and New Zealanders can see them every day. 13,000 people got elective surgery, extra people got elective surgery last year because of the national government's investment. People are getting faster cancer treatment than they did under the previous government. And today I can tell the House that the significant $60 million investment extra that we put into medicines, community medicines, sees 250,000 New Zealanders getting medicine that they would not have got 2 years ago without that significant investment. And Minister Paula Bennett has been leading a real drive for welfare that focuses on work, coupled not only with the lower personal marginal tax rates. She's put together a package which encourages people to get back to work, takes responsibility for themselves, and the job ops and the community max are really giving young people in my electorate and elsewhere around the country the opportunity to get workplace skills and experience. Thirdly, and very importantly, Minister Anne Tolley is leading a significant sea change in education with national standards, which is, well, actually not what the teachers say. Actually, most teachers are getting on with the business of implementing national standards because they don't like the fact that 1 in 5 kids can leave school not being able to read and write well enough to get a job. They don't like that, so they are working very hard to implement national standards in literacy and numeracy, and the reports that parents are getting are providing much better information than there was previously, and we know that in education there's a significant investment going in there. 4% increase for school operating grants, $350 million for school property over the next few years. Very exciting things happening with the youth guarantee and trade training in school. I think it's excellent that we're investing in these trade academies around the countryside and really are making a significant change. These are the things in education that are really going to deliver the lift in skills and attainment that we as New Zealanders want. But very importantly, as the Minister of Finance said, not only are we putting more money in people's pockets and focusing on education and getting better quality public services, we're also investing in infrastructure, an area that was neglected by the previous government. As they were throwing the cash around, they didn't focus on the really important infrastructure investments that can help our country grow. Almost $11 billion over the next 10 years going into roads and roading infrastructure in New Zealand. $1.5 billion over 10 years into the national broadband, ultra-fast broadband network, upgrading the electricity transmission, and what's more, one of the most significant nothing more significant than the government's public health investment in the Warm Up New Zealand Heat Smart program, which is seeing 50,000 homes have been insulated under the government's Warm Up Heat Smart program. This is actually a significant public health measure. And already, as we travel around the country, we're picking up stories of families that now have opportunity and success as a result of having warmer homes, drier homes, and their kids aren't having the respiratory problems, the other problems, the asthma, these other difficulties that you get from damp homes. Significant investment, a major public health program that we've invested from the Health Service. The Health Service has made a contribution. The Labor Party called that a cut in the health budget because we gave money to the Healthy Homes program. It's actually one of the best things we can do in health. We're also making a significant investment in business innovation and in our trade agenda. But very importantly, Mr. Speaker, a real commitment to cut red tape and regulation. Right. Minister Kate Wilkinson is leading a huge effort to streamline employment law that gives business and employees the opportunity to get jobs and expand their employment opportunities. The 90-day trial period is being extended to all businesses. Nick Smith doing a great job on the RMA. Everywhere I travel around New Zealand, people are saying that we're doing significant things in the RMA, making it easier for people to invest in their businesses and get ahead. So look, this is a government with a real agenda for change that is we're driving through, and that is a party opposite with a real agenda for change. But actually, he's a very nice man, but he's